Good morning and welcome to Mindset Monday. This Monday, the 12th of June. It is such an honor to have all of you guys here. Now, as you guys know, this past weekend, I had a little bit of a speaking engagement. And this is where today's topic of, let me see exactly what I put down in the group chat. Want to go word for word. Good morning, Diana. Pleasure to see you again, as always. What to do when God seemingly tunes a deaf ear to your prayers. Now, how many people in this group have prayed a prayer to God and he just flat out ignored you? Nobody?
Me. Everybody.
Okay, here's my question. Did he ignore you? Because
No.
Not right now does not mean no. Not at the moment you ask does not mean it's not going to happen. How many people have a dream, have a goal, have a desire, and they push hard and heavy until they hit that first wall, they run into that wall, and they give up? How many people get pissed off with God, say, if I just had the faith of a mustard seed, which is itty bitty, then I can move mountains. Yet I'm asking for fill in the blank, whatever it is for you, and you're not providing.
It's in his time, not our time.
You're absolutely right. We definitely serve a crock pot God and not a microwave God. We do not serve a genie in a bottle where we just want something, desire something, need something. We rub a lamp and poof, there comes our magic genie, also known as God, that's in your little box. Understand, if you look at him as a genie in a bottle is another form of a box. Let him out. So when you have prayers, audacious prayers, if y'all haven't learned about me, I am not a small thinker. I am not a, hey, let's just play with this and piece it together. Let's just do it little by little. No, you do build little by little. You make sure that your foundation is firm. But yet, I can tell you, Juanita, Camille, they knew what my prayer was for this event. My prayer was twofold. Number one, make an impact. Number two, have 777 new members for thought-provoking change.
777. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to mute you, Susan.
Oh.
Yes. And there is method to that number. Not only because the number 7 is the 7 of completion, but yet there are more reasons. Now, if y'all truly understood everything that was going on behind the scenes, I don't share everything simply because the reality is it blows my mind to see all the things that are going on. And truth be told, it would probably scare some of you guys off. Ricardo, welcome. Ricardo went with me to Chattanooga. He lives right down the road from me. So he hopped in the car and we had one of the most beautiful chauffeurs ever. It was my oldest daughter. She drove us. And Ricardo experienced the weekend. Ricardo was with me, and make no mistake about what I'm about to say and how I'm about to say it. This is not a glorified me. This is not a look at me, look at this level. It's not that. So please understand that. The reality is I was one of the speakers at this conference, which meant I was backstage. I was with all of the special guests. I was with everybody. I was one of them. So I was in the group. Ricardo was blown away. You know what, Ricardo, I know you're driving. Can you come on for a couple minutes and talk about what you experienced this weekend? Thumbs up, thumbs down. If you can, I completely understand. Thumbs up. All right, I'll unmute you so you don't take your hands off the wheel, because I need you around here, as does your wife. There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, this experience was one that, even being a person that's expectant, you know, I always expect the best, even when I see the worst in front of me. And I expected there to be some amazing people and some amazing opportunities to come out of this weekend. But even expecting something great, it exceeded my expectations as far as the people that were there, the information that was shared. But in the privacy of the office, the back office that the Bishop Adams had, there were some conversations and some nuggets shared in that room, and some opportunities that were offered in that room that you don't get unless you're positioned and you're around these types of people. I mean, we're talking about people who have presidential commendations and have been recognized around the world as thought leaders and leaders in business and other areas of society. And we're talking about multiples of hundreds of millions of net worth that's in that room. We're sitting around talking with one another and sharing information like we're doing right now, you know, and it was a beautiful experience because no one acted as if the other people in the room didn't belong or was less than them. So that the opportunity that we had there and how we were treated, the way they treated us the entire time we were there, was one of those things that you think about, maybe even at times dream about, but the reality of it is even more than what you yourself could have created in your own mind. And that's the ground level on this Taking Authority tour. So Jonathan was blown away, and Jonathan isn't blown away by much, but he was absolutely giddy like a 5-year-old at one point, coming up to me, talking to me, and I almost had to hug him and hold him down, you know. But it is an amazing opportunity, and and he has been given an opportunity to do some things that he may not talk about right now out west that he's still trying to get his feet on the ground from. You know, right. So this community right here, this is the ground floor of this community for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Ricardo. It was amazing having you. And I have been given the liberty to announce the next 2 stops. We have one coming up next month. Fortunately for me, it's in Marietta, Georgia, which means I can drive there within 35 minutes. That's awesome. And we are also going out west, August the 26th, to Los Angeles, California, to a little church. I say little because it only has 17,000 members, called City of Refuge Church right outside of Los Angeles. Noel Jones is the pastor. And understand, if I pause this morning, it's because I'm really bringing everything Wednesday night. This call is leading into Wednesday night, where you're going to really see the behind the scenes and what's going on. So I want to paint the picture for you here. I get invited on this tour by a celebrity in his own right. James is definitely, he is the keynote for the YouTube channel, which has 1.4 million followers. It's called Absolute Motivation. Big shout out to you, James. Guys, if y'all are not following James on Absolute Motivation, do so. He is one of the 2 fastest growing YouTube channels on the entire planet. And it just keeps growing and growing. So this Taking Authority tour is about harnessing in, using the church platform to encourage people into business, using the church platform to bring to them the ways to level up their life. You know, the beauty is, it is this call magnified. And those 2 meetings, one is in Marietta, Georgia, next month on the 14th and 15th, I believe it is. then City of Refugee or City of Hope, Refugee of Hope. Anyway, it's Noel Jones's church out there in Los Angeles. That is the 26th. So Ken, I know you're in the LA area. We would love to see you there. This event is open and free to everyone to attend. So I would highly encourage all of you guys to attend. I don't think we have anything in South Africa or the Philippines. We do have something coming up in Dubai. And when you get involved with this and when you meet the people, it's amazing. I'll tell you, Bishop Adams did not know what he was getting himself into. I dropped in on his church last Sunday and listened to him and listened to how he was promoting it. He did not understand what City of Refuge. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, I said that. So whoever put that in the chat for me, thank you. Thanks, Kate. I believe that there's twofold. Number one, you go into stuff expectant. Number two, you go in with no expectancy. Now, I know that that is a complete contradiction to everything. You go in expecting something, you go in expecting nothing. How can that be? Did I go in there and make an impact? Oh, I believe I did. To the point that there have been mega pastors like T.D. Jakes, like Eddie Long, which is no longer with us. They have spoke at Olivet Baptist Church where we were at. I completed my speech. I did the F5 within minutes. No, within a minute of me finishing. Bishop Kevin Adams walked up to me, shook my hand, and said, I want you to speak at my church. Juanita, Wednesday night, you said something about how this is truly my calling. Yep. You can ask Ricardo, you can ask my wife. My answer is no, absolutely not. No, 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 no. He comes up and he asked me that. I'm blown away. Because if y'all don't realize, once a church reaches a certain level, it's not overly hard to speak at a church of a couple hundred members. To reach a church that has an impact like a church like Olivet Baptist Church, they do not let people in their pulpit easily at all. It is sacred, guarded space, and rightfully so. When he asked me that, I believe, is that what you were talking about, Ricardo? You almost had to hold me to the ground. is that what you were talking about? When Kevin asked me to come speak to the church? You're muted, brother. Two things I am not is a lip reader and a mind reader.
Unmute him. He's driving.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you unmute me because I was trying to stay focused. That's one of them. The other one that where you were invited to someone's house for a time of romance. You know, it just basically what it was. He wanted to spend some time with you. That one was a huge one too, because this guy could actually have anybody over. He said, Jonathan, you don't call me enough, and he wants you to come out to his house and hang out with him. Now, mind you, he has access to any number of people in the world. I mean, I'm talking about country leaders and so forth. He asked you to come to his house and said, hey, you don't call me enough. Like, you don't, that doesn't happen every day. Right. You know, that's an amazing opportunity, not just for him, but people in you. Work that Jonathan is a part of now, and the wide net that's being cast.
Right. This net is being cast very wide. And who he is speaking about is a legend in his own right. He is talking about the one and the only Greg Reed. we were sitting around the conference table after the event, and he made a comment. He said, Jonathan, you don't call me enough. You need to call me more. And I reach out to him when I feel that there's a reason to reach out to him. I also have respect for the man's time. You know, you don't get people's phone numbers and direct access to people like that just because you're walking by the street and you pick up a gum wrapper and it happens to have their phone number on it and it says, please call me. And yes, he did invite me over to his house when I'm in San Diego at the end of the month. He's like, come over and we'll play. What was the game he said, Ricardo? Was it frisbee golf or something like that? It's a game that I need to study up on so I know what in the world we're doing when we get there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the reach that we have is incredible. I have talked with some people that used to come on with us and they no longer do. And the number one reason that people say that is it's not growing. There's nobody new there. It's the same people every time. You're right. But you know what? This morning, the call on my life was to speak to 12 people. My position in life at 9 o'clock, June the 12th, was not to talk to millions, was not to talk to hundreds of thousands or even thousands. It was to talk to my currently 12 most favorite people in the world, you guys. That's what it's all about. I talked a couple weeks ago about never compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 100. Be where you're at. Kelly Cardenas was with us, and he talked about be where you're at. Where you are at is where you are supposed to be. You know, when you have a business that you have been busting your butt and dropping money into, I've dropped well over 6 figures into this community. When you drop a lot of money into something and that money doesn't come back immediately, when you drop your time, your energy, your effort, your heart into something, and it doesn't seem to be going like you were expecting. When you go into something saying, God, I'm believing for 777 new members, and at the end of it, you walk away with none. I had a phone call that night as I was walking around the city of Charlotte. No, I was not in Charlotte. Where was I? Chattanooga. I at least had the C right. My wife and I were texting, and she said, can I call you? Which means one of two things. Either A, are you in a position for me to call you? Or B, can you emotionally handle talking like that? I said, yes. I'm actually going to let her take it from here and give a little bit of insight as to what that phone call was. Now, keep in mind, anticipation's been building for this event. Excitement's been building. Preparation. Camille, Michelle, Juanita, they can tell you there have been countless hours to go in behind the scenes, to websites, to development, to stuff that you guys will never see. It's just not designed. Unless you're at the event, you do not see a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. Then we get there. And I'm anticipating 7,000 to 10,000 people. And there weren't. It's disheartening. You've been praying and fasting every Friday. You give up food to pray and fast for it. And this is the turnout we have. This is it. It's discouraging. God ignored the prayers, not just of me, but of everybody there. God ignored the prayers. Or did he? Kate, what was that conversation about in Chattanooga?
Well, like he said, I asked if he could talk, and for that reason, is he there in his headspace to talk yet? partly because we know that if we're not ready to talk, it's not a productive conversation yet. And it can make things actually worse versus better at that point. And I just wanted to hear his thoughts and where he was at in reality versus expectations. If you have to understand that when expectation leads to disappointment, so we have to be careful in what our expectations are. And we also sometimes think that we're in charge of the plan, and we're not. I understand that more than anybody. When I lost my late husband, I didn't understand because this wasn't the plan. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. And at times I got mad and angry because this wasn't the plan, but I didn't know what the plan was. I didn't understand the whole picture. And I had to remind Jonathan that he is part of something much bigger than just this past weekend, that there's a lot of moving pieces, and this is impacting lives in ways that we never thought, but it doesn't look like what he had expected in his head. And when those don't match up, then we get disappointment. And it leads us down a negative thought process versus regrouping and saying, okay, this is just a smaller piece of the huge picture that I'm part of.
Right. That's right. Thank you. So God ignored my prayers. God ignored the prayers of everybody. Or did he? You see, I went in knowing we were coming away with 777 new members to this community. As y'all see, there's not a new member here. And then I really started having those feelings go around in my heart. But wait a second. You prayed two prayers, one to impact people, two for the membership. I'm like, no, we're not doing this, God. This is not the conversation we're having. Let's end it now. And he says, no, we're not. Was your prayers impact people and then membership, or was your prayers membership and then impact people? The order matters. The order is very important. And as I really started to look inwardly, that's when things started to change around. That's when I realized if prayer number one was to impact people, did I do it? I believe I did. I got a note. There was a note sitting on my bed in the hotel room when I arrived back to the room from one of my most favorite people in the world. And it said, "You did great, Dad," or "Great job, Dad. You did wonderful. I love you," or something like that. HNE. That's my Haley Noel Ellis, my oldest daughter. You know what? If that church was full of 100,000 people and she's the only one I impacted, it was a success. But yet there was more. I had a call last night with James Dixon. And he said, "Brother, I want to read you this testimonial." He read it to me. And he wrote me, listen to me, I'm reading the chat. He read me the testimonial. This testimonial talked about the F5. After he finished reading, I was just quiet. He said, "Jonathan, did you hear that?" I said, "Yeah, I did." He said, "Jonathan, she was at the event both days. He said, not once did she mention anything about Greg Reed. She didn't mention anything about 3 feet from gold. All she talked about was what you talked about. Impact. He said, Jonathan, Friday night at dinner, and just disclaimer, no, I did not eat. For those of you saying, you're fasting. Why were you eating? I went to dinner with everybody. James and the pastors of the group got up and left. And then they came back 15, 20 minutes later. And he said, last night on the call, he said, Jonathan, did you notice that me and the pastors got up and we left during dinner? Of course I did. He said, do you know what they said to me? I'm like, I have no idea. He said, they said, you cannot consider stopping this movement. You cannot even think about quitting. And I'm like, no, absolutely you can't. This is something. He said, Jonathan, you're not hearing me. I said, no, I guess I'm not. No, we can't stop it. This is what's meant to be. He said, you're still not hearing me. I'm like, James, I'm not hearing you. He said, who talked on day one? I said, oh my God. He said, now you get it. He said, Jonathan, you were the only speaker on day one. And the pastors of these mega churches pulled him out after just my speech and said, you cannot stop this. Was there impact? Yes. Then I turned that disappointment into excitement. Did it pan out the exact way that I had envisioned? No. Now y'all know the prayer. So y'all be praying. At the next event, I'm not sure what it's going to look like because it is really a church launch. Even though the pastor that is launching that church has set number 2 just under Bishop Eddie Long, which that church was 25,000 people when Pastor Harris was there. I don't know what that's going to look like. But yet, when we move into Noel Jones Church, and we move into other churches, understand there are churches that are coming that every one of you guys have heard the names of these pastors, guaranteed. When we're there, when the impact is there, when all of this is coming together, it's unstoppable. We will use this platform even more for what it's designed to do. And like we talked about several weeks ago, Monday and Wednesday is designed to plant the seeds in people. Give faith, as I talked about Saturday and last Wednesday. Matt, have faith in your business, brother. I know it's discouraging at times. I know. We are, this community, this business started right about the same time that yours did. We're both in the same boat. It's like, why is this not growing faster? This is not the way that I saw it going. But yet, you're right where you're supposed to be. When you say, I'm starting this business and it's going to be doing $1 million within a month. Now, yes, that happens sometimes. Yet, when it's people like you, Matt, people like me, the only place that we have to turn is to God to say, hey, help out. When we realize we cannot handle this. I've been in business for 20 years. I've been very successful. I've made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. I know how to do business. But yet at the same time, who knows, maybe God closed the door on growth at the moment because we're not ready for it. But yet, be ready. Because I will still tell you, when this thing really takes off, it's taking off. And joining is open to everybody. So y'all bring people in. I mean, I set this past weekend as the official opening day. Bring people in. We're going to be letting you guys know more about the Hustle Faithfully podcast. We're going to be letting you know more about the Greatest Wealth book. y'all will know more about all of this stuff in the weeks to come. As we have reached 9:30, we're going to hop off of here. Y'all mark your calendars. The author of the book, The Go-Giver, is going to be joining us later this month. I will let you know the exact date. It will be on a Wednesday night, and the time will change. He said, Jonathan, I'm not doing 9 o'clock. This 65-year-old body is in bed at 9 o'clock. So we will be backing it up a little bit. Once we get that exact time zeroed in, I'll let you guys know. You all have a blessed week. Make sure to be here Wednesday. I am going to expand on this a whole lot more. In fact, Wednesday's topic is finding excitement in perceived disappointment. Perceived. What happens when you're wanting to sell these mega mansions in Miami and they're not selling? Is it disappointment or is it perceived disappointment? There is a huge difference. And I've really had an opening and an awakening to that in the past couple of days. Be here with us Wednesday. If you have not joined, join. Because I'll tell you, this Wednesday will make the total investment worth it for the entire year. And then you have the rest of the year left as well. So y'all make sure to join. Be with us Wednesday. Bring people in. And for those of you that are not yet official members, bring people with you. There's a 15% referral fee. So you bring somebody in. What would that be? 7 people? Get 7 people to come in and join. You're in for free. Y'all all have a blessed week. We'll see you in 2 days on Wednesday. And bring some friends. Love you guys. Peace out.